Hello, everyone out there. I forgot to put my jacket on before the show, so it's going to be casually slung over my shoulder as if I planned this. It is May 8th, 2019 in Exeter, New Hampshire, and my name is KJ Traynor, and I'm back on the air, to some people's regret. But on our show, we pride ourselves on not swearing, talking sports, or politics, unless, of course, Mitch brings up the political side of sports, in which case I swear at him. We have turned the last quarter of the show over to Mitch, which begs the question, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And if you think that makes no sense, wait till you see the last section with Mitch.
Hey!
Just kidding. You know I have to rag on you because KJ decided to go on vacation and she didn't tell us.
She did tell us.
Shut up, Mitch.
I'm just saying.
Seriously, Mitch? Anyway, we have taken a lot of pride in the show, and I know it doesn't seem that way, but that should just tell you a lot about our pride. We have been going strong, or at least going, for over a year now, and in that year, unlike most television programs, today we have not once mentioned Hitler, Nazi, or racism. Damn it. Well, we've broken that record, but this show isn't broken because it's the Early Late Night Live Show. We're on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8, and well, let's roll the opening credits. Okay, all right. So, I have been gone for 1 week because I was sick last week, and I'm back. It's the Early Late Night Live Show. We're on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on our Facebook page, the Early Late Night Live Show Facebook page. And quick announcement, we are going to be switching over to YouTube every week, but we are doing a transition period right now. So we're going to be dropping the link to our YouTube channel in the Facebook Live group. Please go on there and subscribe. Within the next week or two, we're going to be going strictly to YouTube because Mark Zuckerberg doesn't really like us, and so he has a tendency to pull us off of Facebook pretty randomly, and it doesn't really work well with our technical systems. But whoever owns YouTube does like us. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, so on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8, and it's good to be back. It's really good to be back. But sitting with me always, and fortunately, Mitch Fortier. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
Welcome
back.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back. Yeah, I still have not had the heart to watch last week's show, which I'm told was really good. It's like I missed being on the show. So
our guests were great. Yeah.
Yeah, rub it in, why don't you? All right. filling in for KJ is a lovely Autumn Allen. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. You know, you just experienced kind of what it's like to be a co-host of the show, which usually ends up being a call the night before saying, hey, are you available?
That's how I ended up here.
That's how you ended up.
And here you are.
Yeah,
here I am.
Here I am, yeah. So, yeah, he was just coming in. He thought he was coming in as a guest, but he was coming in as a co-host. And then he said, hey, I'll fill in. You know, if you need someone to fill in. I said, so what are you doing until we don't know?
Until forever.
Until forever. And now he's stuck with us. So, yeah, it's great to be back in the show. I've been sort of out of it the past couple of weeks. And if you guys notice, I'm really tired during the show. And, I was working a really kind of rough shift job, and now I'm on a regular shift, so I'm happy and I got energy and I don't have a headache constantly. And I will actually be able to go to the Sea Dog after the show, which we always go to.
We did miss you there.
Aw, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Don't lie on television.
Meetings went much faster without you. I can say that anyway.
Yes. Well, a quick shout out to people in the Facebook Live from Bob Turinjo, Chris Doobie. Who else we got? Stephen Lomer. If you guys could, make sure you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be posting a whole bunch of more new content coming up soon, which I'm very excited to be talking about soon. But anyways, it's now the news segment. So, yes.
Ooh, news.
Ooh, news. We always get excited about the news.
Yes, so.
But we're going to cover our traditional stuff, even though KJ's not here. We're still going to cover, for the most part, of course, our box office news. So
it's endgame.
It took a while to get to the next level. I mean, there's a huge disparity between the top film and the second film.
All right.
But
what is the gap?
Clearly.
So this is the second weekend, I think Endgame was out, right?
So this is their second week. At this point, they're 12 days into it, but this is as of week. It says essentially week number 2. As of this report, they were only 10 days into it, and their total gross is $621 million.
That's just in the U.S. too, I think.
That's correct. There's another 1.2. I'm sorry. There's another 400 and change million overseas.
Because it broke like $1 billion over the weekend. It just finally kicked a James Cameron film. It doesn't matter which one because they're kind of all the same, long and drawn out.
So it's actually topped $2.1 billion globally in 10 days.
Wow.
It took Avatar 40, actually I made a note here actually, 47 days to get there.
Wow.
That means
So it might be kicking Avatar out. That's what Aiden was saying. My oldest son was saying that maybe it's gonna kick Avatar out of that.
As the highest grossing. Did
highest
you ever see
grossing.
Avatar?
Yep.
I did not. No.
Did you fall asleep
I know
during
they're
that
the
too?
blue. I fall asleep during movies.
Not a sci-fi, or just
I'm
movies
not.
in general?
Yeah, except for the romantic ones. I'll hang on for those ones. But, yeah.
Popcorn, popcorn wine.
Chick flicks,
chick
you know,
flicks.
yeah.
You shamelessly like chick flicks, right?
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm not really afraid to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. I like romantic comedies. Like, and Hannah doesn't like romantic comedies, but she did like that new one that was like a joke on romantic comedies, which I want to see too. I forget what it's called, but she doesn't like it, and it's kind of weird being in this situation where like I really want to see like
You probably won in
You've Got Mail and stuff like I like
100,000 anyway. So yeah,
Huh?
You're as a couple, you probably won in a couple 100,000 anyway.
Yeah.
Where the guy actually would watch them.
But it is one of those relationships where the girl likes Tim Burton films, which is what is with. Can I ask this without sounding weird? But it just seems like women have a tendency to like Tim Burton films more than men.
I like them. Well, I think that it might give us, we feel like we have a dark side. We can relate to the dark side of Tim
dark
Burton.
side.
Yeah, like Coraline. That was some messed up
true.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Edward
as dark as I
Scissorhands
go.
pretty messed up. So
True.
yes.
That's true.
So
But, yeah.
all right. Anyways, what else? Real quick? Are you a fan of romantic comedies or Tim Burton?
Tim Burton, more so than romantic comedies, but I'll watch them. Like I like shows like Hitch are kind of.
Yeah, Hitch was
fun.
awesome. Yeah. It's a movie though. It's not a show. This is a show.
Thanks for that. I do forget sometimes. So
One person who falls asleep during movies on a movie review show, another person who is the host of the show and doesn't know the difference.
Falls asleep on a show and talking about movies.
All right, so what else we got in the news?
So Intruder was second in their first weekend, 10.8 million.
What is that? Do we even review
It's a horror, basically, or thriller.
Okay.
A family buys this house from a guy, but the guy doesn't move out, and his wife had died there, apparently killed herself, kind of situation, and then they start to feel fear for their lives,
right,
kind of thing. So
why would
it's
they move
horror.
In?
But
They didn't know he was there,
he was selling
right?
the house.
No, but why did they move in if he hadn't moved out?
I only watched the trailer, so I didn't get
right.
all the details.
Right.
But it didn't look like a film that you would expect to do exceptionally well, and there was no heavy hitters in terms of.
Right. Well, who would go?
actors
Like,
are
who would be
concerned.
stupid enough to go up against Endgame, unless you're the complete opposite? Like a Tim Burton film or something like that.
Yeah, or
right.
Long Shot, for example. I mean, came out last weekend as well.
Right.
But they did 9.7 million.
Right.
So between those two films, they were trying to get a little piece of something.
Right.
And an interesting note, Avengers is playing in 4,662 theaters in the U.S.
Wow.
It's a lot of theaters.
4,000. How much?
662.
What's that divided by 50? 4,662. Did someone got math? Because we only
Divided
have
by
50
50?
states. Yeah, we only have 50
20,000,
states.
right?
Huh?
I don't know. Say the numbers again.
Yeah. 4,662.
All right, real quick. Rob Glowacki's in the
So-
Facebook live room.
6
Frank Duran is in the Facebook live room. Our director, who's not in tonight, but his brother, who I used to film with a long time ago, is in the Facebook live room. Hello, Frank. Rob Glowacki says, talk about HBO's Chernobyl miniseries. No. Stephen Lomer says, let's talk sports and politics. Shut up, Stephen. All right. Chris Doobie says, no, Arnie, I have to settle for my second favorite trainer. Well, I'm at least in the favorites. There's like a whole bunch of better brothers than me. Wow, I didn't realize I was on that list. All right. So what else we got in the news?
Let's see. Michael Palin from Monty Python turned 76 this week.
Cool.
Michael Knight is 60.
Michael Knight. Wait a second.
I was trying to reel him in on that one.
Wait.
Isn't that Knight Rider?
Right, yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm about to say, David Hasselhoff
That's what you
is 60?
think of, right?
Yeah,
So
yes.
no, yeah.
Oh, all right.
So David Hasselhoff's probably older than that. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Germany,
Michael E.
right?
Knight. He's It wasn't All My Children. He was a soap opera star for years, so he's actually not related. I just thought it was funny to
I got all excited.
see what happened.
Well, okay. Well, I was in New York over the weekend. I just went down and I was going through Times Square with Hannah. We were hanging out. And she hadn't been there in a while, and I never liked Times Square, but I went there and I had fun with her. And on one of the billboards on one of the stores is David Hasselhoff wearing like really brightly colored shorts and flip-flops. He's got a line of like this extraordinarily flamboyant like clothing, and I thought, man, I want to buy that clothing because David Hasselhoff is that, you know, that's just it right there.
Found out some neat facts about that show that I hadn't realized. First of all, it was on at one point and then it came back on. It was on and then went off and then it came back on with a different title. It was like Knight Rider Plus or something along those lines. Anyways, but there was
they did a rebirth type of right.
So in figuring that out or realizing that, I was curious, like, oh yeah, who did the voice for Kit?
Right.
A guy by the name of William Daniels. But also Val Kilmer did the voice for Kit at one point in time.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
So, that was probably early in his career. I mean, that was a while back. It was in the late 80s,
Mid-80s,
right? Early
right?
90s.
I could be a Huckleberry Michael.
And yeah, so I could picture Val Kilmer doing that. But true story.
True story.
Billy Joel turned 70 this week.
I love Billy Joel. He's one of my, favorite. He's probably my favorite musician of all time, Billy Joel. So.
One of my favorite actors, Tim Blake Nelson, turned 55.
Who's that?
You've seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
They turned me into I lifted him up and turned him into a horny toad.
Oh yeah, yes.
He's also Ballad of Buster.
Buster Reeves, right? Yeah, he's that one
Scruggs.
who's in a lot of Coen Brothers movies, I think, right? That kind of funny faced guy.
Yeah.
You know.
So I like him a lot. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, only I hate to say this is going to sound mean, and I don't mean it, but he's only 55. I kind of thought he was older than that.
He has a very weathered face.
He does.
Yeah. Which, could work as an actor in your favor because, Angela Lansbury was an old lady since she was 25. So that's, no, but seriously, she was playing an old lady since she was like in her 30s. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, she was playing an old maid in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, and she couldn't have been that old because that was like in the 70s, I think.
Some people just play older.
Yeah.
Right. Good for her, but still, I think everyone's mom watched Murder, She Wrote. That was just, did your mom watch Murder, She Wrote?
No, she was in All My Children. That's what I ended up having to watch. So that's
that's how you know this other actor.
This other actor, right?
So all right. Well, anyways, but Autumn, how you been? We'll cut the news because you're sitting here for a minute. So
Here I am.
Yeah, I just got a 3-minute sign. From the 2-minute sign. Oh, sorry, I'm not. I was totally doing it. We had you on talking about Death by Chocolate. It's going well, though?
Yes, Garrison Players Art Center in Rollinsford. Death by Chocolate. Our first weekend went really well. We have 2 more weekends. The audiences are really loving it. Lots of fun and lots of surprises. We had some really great sponsors for that show, which is great as a community theater to get sponsors. So so it's been going really well. So still tickets available if people want to come and check us out. Yeah, and if you guys can hear a little background noise right now, extra noise going on because downstairs, we're at the Old Exeter Town Hall and there's a auditorium downstairs. They're practicing for another play that's going on.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the song when I came in. There was a song being rehearsed. But.
Right, yeah. So if you guys hear a bunch of extra noise, that's the reason why. I did ask them if they want to become guests on the show. So that's the way it is. All right. When we come right back, we will be with our special guest, Emily Druin. And she's a really cool lady, and we're excited to have her on the show. Yeah. And we're going to be right back. Early Late Night Live Show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page, Early Late Night Live Show Facebook page. God bless you, whoever sneezes in the background. Talk to you later.
Hey, Terry! What's the name of that show you got going on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock?
The Early Late Night Live Show on Facebook?
Yeah, that's the one. That sounds like lots of fun. Isn't that the one that you got guests on?
Mm-hmm, it is.
Oh, wow, I think you should have Steve be a guest on that show. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, definitely.
Good idea, yeah. You a photographer?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
You sure?
Nope, not even a little bit. Not me neither. Nope. Think you bought it? Yep, sure. We'll see Steve on that show very soon. Yep.
She is an author. She is an artist. She was written about in several newspapers. It's probably because she's Supergirl. You're also known as Emily Druin. So welcome back to the Early Late Night Live Show, and welcome to the Early Late Night Live Show, Emily Druin. Great to have you on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, great to have you on the show. I feel like a real amateur right now, obviously because I've been gone for a week. I had a list of questions. They were right here on my left, and I don't know what happened to them. And so we're going to discreetly go like this. But introduce yourselves to the audience.
So I'm Emily Druin. I'm a children's book and comic book illustrator and author. Originally from Manchester, New Hampshire, and I live just a couple of towns over in Raymond. So I've been doing illustration work for 15 to 20 years, and I'm taking it now professionally, doing it full time. And also I run a kids comic book convention going on our 4th year called KidsCon New England. It's in Nashua, New Hampshire at the Radisson, Sunday, May 19th.
So like you just sort of casually said, and we said, yeah, I've been doing comic book for 15 to 20, and I can see Autumn going, that's a lot of stuff that's being added on there. And then he said, yeah, I'm doing it professionally, which, any artist say anything doing professionally is just, you just gone up there on there. And then you just casually said, you're throwing together a Comic-Con, a kids Comic-Con. Wow. So is this the first one? Your first time doing it, or is this?
This is our 4th year.
Fourth year.
Yeah, pay attention, Terry.
That's just. I know she probably said it, didn't she? Yes. That's just. I'm sorry. I'm just blown away. That's incredible. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that, though?
Yeah. So I started attending Comic-Cons, tabling at Comic-Cons back in 2013. Granite State Comic-Con was my first one.
Yes, that's
our
fun,
friends there at Double Midnight, they put on a great show. And when I started going to other shows too, and I noticed there weren't a whole lot of activities for kids to do at these shows.
Yeah.
And it was more geared towards the adult crowd or teenagers. So, and I self-publish children's comic books. I have a series called Epless, a sci-fi series. And I realized it would be great if we had like a whole section devoted to kids comics and also fun activities for the kids. So I went up to the promoters of the conventions and been like, hey, I'd love to teach the kids cartooning workshops, have a fun activities area for the kids. So I started doing kids zones at Comic-Cons, and then it got so popular, I was doing them all throughout New England. And I decided, let's take it the next step further and create a whole convention devoted just to kids and kids comics.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not really like, comic books used to be like way back. It was like a kid's thing. Like you were a kid if you were reading comic books. That was the kids read comic books. And then it really sort of morphed into, because even when I was a kid, my mom wouldn't let us buy a lot of comic books. They were really violent. This was not like, oh, cool, Batman. Mom's like, no, you're not allowed to read this one. Here's an Archie comic book. Mom, we don't want to read this. So that's so cool that you really were able to kind of allow kids to be able to go in and explore and enjoy, and not have to panic about whether or not they're picking up something that's like a kid shouldn't be reading or something like that. Yeah.
When I'd go to shows, often I'd be right next to a bloody, gory comic, or like someone's head beheaded, or ladies in little skimpy things. And I was like, so, I want to create a family-friendly convention that parents know that we screen all the books, all the artists coming in, and everything is family-friendly and devoted to the kids. And we have over 90 creators at our event coming up. And all from across the country. Most are from the New England area, and a lot of indie comic book creators and children's book illustrators and authors attending.
Very cool. So what got you started in art, and kind of what made you motivated in getting into comics then?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I loved reading comics too, particularly the ones in the newspaper.
Yes.
Peanuts and
Foxtrot
Garfield,
and
Foxtrot.
Right.
And that really inspired me to create my own. And I would start drawing my own little comic strips, and I loved going to the library. And my parents were very supportive. They would bring us every weekend to the library, and I'd get a big stack of books, and I was always excited about reading and very passionate about that. And so I knew when I was a little kid, I was like, I want to be a children's book illustrator and author, and that was my passion. And so in elementary school, I would create my own stories, write them, and I was into a lot of Brothers Grimm influence in my stories. So at that time, I was doing a lot of fantasy stories, and my teachers really promoted, and they were like, let's, they really encouraged me to continue and pursue it. And so that really, having that drive, that support system, and my parents saw my love of doing art, and they signed me up for art classes. And so I think that's really important if, you know, for kids to have that, encourage them to pursue that.
That's cool. So, okay, now you're married. What is it like working with your spouse on these projects?
Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better spouse. He's been incredible. Yeah, Jeremy, thank you.
You're not just saying that because he's behind the camera right now, right?
No, yeah, we've been together for, married for over 9 years. So, yeah, and thanks. And, but we both love sci-fi, and I knew that I wanted to do a comic book series, and I was like, would you like to write a comic book series with me? So he helped me do the writing, most of the writing for the story, and then we collaborated it together, and I did all the illustration work. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because that's how a lot of comic books work, though, is that one person's typically more on the story, another person's more on the illustration, the artwork.
Yeah, yeah, it's great to have that collaboration, too, to take your ideas and off of each other, and you know, it helps to create a better story too. And then also you may realize, oh, this isn't quite working. You know, you have a different perspective. It's good to work with a team.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
So what are you what are you like most proud of then when it comes to your work?
I'd say most proud of, I guess, really the building the Kids Comic-Con. It was the first one in New England, so that's a big accomplishment too, but also just bringing a community together, and it's creating this incredible thing, and I'm just so happy for the support system that I've had in the comic artist community, and then the just inspiring the next generation of children to become artists and create their own books and tell stories.
Yeah, can we get a poster right here? Let's get a good close-up, a good, beautiful close-up.
We can
of
do
the
that.
poster.
I don't know if it's if the camera's set up, but you'll be happy my face is not
well,
showing.
This is a good shot. We'll cover Mitch's face. And
Yeah, I illustrated the poster too. So really our mission here at KidsCon New England is to promote art education and literacy through comics. And we have over a dozen creative workshops, and kids can meet all sorts of illustrators and authors and ask them questions. We even have kids and teens portfolio reviews, and we encourage them to bring their sketchbooks, participate in all the creative workshops, learn to create comics, and also get critiques and bring in your own creations.
That's so cool.
Well, that's a very cool thing,
before.
right? Because correct, now, I'm not a big comic book guy.
Neither am I. Yeah,
Right,
I never really read them.
Okay,
growing up.
but like typically you don't really go to convention looking to get like, hey, how can I, can you give me some advice, or can you help me with this or that? Because a lot of times the artist is sort of like, well, I'm here to sign my own thing, and you can kind of go away. So that's really cool that it's really like about building the next generation of artists. So
yeah, we want kids not to be shy, to come right up to the tables, talk with the artists, talk with the authors, and really participate in all the workshops. We have workshops for all ages and levels. We start from basic drawing facial expressions, and learning how to draw figures, and then how to create a comic, and how to create and write engaging stories. And so there's just and also fun craft activities for the younger kids that like build a cow mask and things like that, and who really want to get in the glue and gritty and sparkles.
Did you say a what mask?
So we have a children's book illustrator and author. She created the Mrs. Moo Moo book series. So she has Mrs. Moo Moo cow mask, and she'll be doing that workshop. But we also have tons of other activities, and as well as for the kids that don't want to do the workshop stuff, we have Jedi training. And we have the 501st.
Autumn doesn't know what
Okay,
that
how
is
old
'cause
do
she
you have
falls
to be to
asleep.
get into this?
Actually, it's
I'm gonna go borrow some kids.
parents can come in and Jedi too. Yeah.
That's
so.
the advantage of having like nieces and nephews. It's like you can go to kids things like, oh cool, I actually want to see Despicable Me. So I will, I will drag my nephew along to see this. But if you don't know what Jedi training is, Autumn,
know
because you
the
fell
theme.
asleep during Star Wars, you know. Though if you noticed, though, Autumn is gotten very close with the
love
Wookiee
him.
right there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a bunch of Star Wars groups, cosplayers there too from the 501st Garrison, and as well as tons of superheroes. All the kids' favorite superheroes will be there. They can meet, and princesses and pirates,
Aw.
and Power Rangers too.
So, okay, what is the most challenging, most rewarding things that you've done, would you say?
Yeah. Most challenging is definitely running convention. Doing this pretty much on my own. My husband's helped me just for a little bit, but pretty much doing a one-woman show. So that's the biggest challenge, is organizing this whole thing and gathering all the people together in activities. And I'm really excited and proud of what it's become. And also it's certainly a great accomplishment self-publishing too.
Yeah. Now, where do you, if you don't mind me asking, because
Yeah.
that's like, and obviously self-publishing books, a lot of people do it through Amazon now. How do you self-publish a comic book?
Yeah, I used a local company here, Hippo. You may be familiar with those
Like the
papers.
Hippo Press?
The Hippo
Yeah.
Press, yeah. And they did a great job. And you can also look around. There's a lot in the area, New England area. If you look up printers, or a lot of times people go overseas too. You can kind of compare the cost there. But you can even do online printing, and publishing, so you don't need to pay all that cost of printing. But I still feel, even though a lot of kids have tablets and stuff, that people still love the books, the tangible aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, Autumn, you have 3 kids, right?
I have 3 children, yeah.
There are 3 children. Yeah, and the ages, what is the age range at this point?
My oldest is 17, and
Yeah.
then my daughter is 15, and then Josiah is 11.
Okay, so they're still fairly young.
Yes.
Right. So are they zoned in? One of them's sitting behind the camera right now, so you're gonna have to talk crap about him at this point in time. But are they zoned in, completely lost in technology, or do they to me it was like, even though I never read books as a kid because I didn't have the attention span, it was still cool to have one and act like I was smart. That's what I did, But that tangible, having something to actually work with and use and stuff like that. Is that still a thing now, or is it?
Absolutely. I think that part of that comes from role modeling too. But I always have a book, and it's the tangible that I enjoy more than anything. But interesting with the comics that my boys. Graphic novels is where they go. Even Aiden, who's 17 now, he still enjoys. I remember when he was 12, he stopped reading for a while, 11 or 12.
Right.
The only thing we could get him to read was the Walking Dead composiums. I think that's what they were called, right? Compendiums, composiums, I don't know. But this big, huge, thick thing, and he read it in 2 days.
That's awesome.
Because it was a graphic novel, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there were enough graphic novels for younger readers.
Yeah, there are a lot more coming out now, like Zeta the Space Girl, Cleopatra in Space. There's so many, and if you check out your local comic book shops, and you can really see they have whole sections now. There didn't used to be, 10 years ago, nearly as many as there are out now. And for kids that just get too bored from those wordy books, definitely the graphic novels are very much more stimulating, and comics are a great way to get kids excited about reading again.
Well, hey, I'm sorry, we're actually running out of time right now, but it was really great having you on the show. We're going to drop all the
thank you so
information for the
much.
Kids Con and all information for people to contact you and check out your stuff. We're going to drop it in the Facebook group, and we're going to be dropping it on our Facebook page. And I hope you had fun coming on the show.
Thank you so much for
Great to
having
have
me.
you.
And good
Thank you.
and good luck with the Kids Con. It's really cool that you're doing that. It's a really cool thing to be. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews. That's cool to have something that's really for kids, especially something as comic books. So,
definitely.
all right, but great having you on the show. And Emily Druin, you guys can check out all of our stuff. We're going to be dropping it all on the Facebook page, so you guys can check it out. It's really cool stuff. And when we come back, we're going to be going to Trailer Trash. It's the early late night live show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8. We will be right back.
Right now, I don't really like you that much either.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Look, boss, if I'm gonna cause a problem, maybe I should just leave. Never stick up to me like that again.
I haven't even moved.
Yeah, we'll keep it that way.
How special are you?
How special are you?
Careful, Dad. That guy killed 5 cops with his bare hands.
Barehanded, huh?
That's right. Lost my gloves. Made things messy. I don't like messy.
He took a bullet, too.
You did?
I did? That's right. Just a flesh wound.
I thought it was your arm.
That's what the police report said.
What police report?
That's right, Beardy Man.
Who is this guy?
Now, easy, Dan. Let's treat our guests with some respect.
You might want to put me down, pretty boy. Else I might have to make a mess out of your face. You know, I don't like messes.
And you're back, and I'm back, and we're all back, because it's the Early Late Night Live Show. We're on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 on Exeter Channel 98 and our Facebook page, Early Late Night Live Show Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, the Early Late Night Live Show YouTube channel. Now, we will still be active in our Facebook page, but we will no longer be doing Facebook Live in about 2 weeks. We're going to be doing about 2 more weeks on Facebook, and we're doing the transition, so we're dropping the link so everyone can subscribe to that, just because Facebook has been a problem since it began. Quick shout out to Renee Bergeron in the Facebook Live room, Jeff Scumpy Lorenz in the Facebook Live room, and Dan DeVideo. So, but it's now one of our favorite segments of the show, Trailer Trash. And what's the first trailer we have up, Mitch?
I don't know. We should start playing it.
We should start playing it. I'm going to say Sonic. Is that the first one we're playing, Dan? There we go. Thumbs up. Yes, thumbs up.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
So let's play the trailer for Sonic. Mitch, give us a breakdown of the trailer, if you could, please, or the film.
So Sonic the Hedgehog. Apparently, there was another movie, by the way, called Sonic that I didn't know about.
Was it a hedgehog as well?
It was as well. Yeah.
Oh.
And that was back in 2013. But this is not the one. That is not the one we're reviewing. A cop in the rural town of Green Hills who will help Sonic escape from the government who's looking to capture him. It looks like we don't have a synopsis for this title yet.
Yeah, I don't think we do. Now, there's also like this big. Now, I don't play video games. Okay, my last video game, it was actually a computer game that I played, was called Wolfenstein or Doom. Like, some of you remember Wolfenstein?
Oh, yeah. We're talking about those.
Like the precursor to Doom. That should tell you a lot about kind of how I fit into the game. Beyond that, it's been mind search or whatever it is in solitaire. Now, so I don't know Sonic the Hedgehog, and someone was telling me this is such a horrible trailer. This is a terrible trailer. They got the character all wrong, and I watched him like, I have no idea who the heck this guy is. He's a little blue dude that's running around. So, do you know who Sonic the Hedgehog is, Mitch?
So Ben Schwartz is going to be playing him. James Marsden is the film. So Sonic is essentially getting acclimated to the planet, shows up and causes some mad chaos, I guess, being around. So they call in the Jim Carrey character to kind of settle things down.
Inspector Clouseau is a spy, it looks like, right?
And James Marsden kind of helps Sonic save Sonic so that he doesn't get captured by the Jim Carrey character.
Right.
So because Jim Carrey's character wants to use his powers to do evil doings.
I guess.
Yeah,
okay, Emily, do you know Sonic the Hedgehog
I mean,
character?
I believe Jim Carrey's supposed to be Dr. Robotnik.
Dr. Robotnik,
Right?
that's
yeah,
right.
that's
Okay.
with the mustache and kind of went crazy. But yeah, the
evil scientist.
I bought the Sega Genesis for Sonic the Hedgehog when it came out when I was a kid. I was a big Sonic fan, and I've seen across the internet too, especially from artist's perspective, we're like, that doesn't look like Sonic.
Okay, so what's different? Because I saw my tech guy, he says, with Sonic the Hedgehog trail, I'm like, oh. He's like, this is what he's supposed to look like. I'm like, okay. And he's like talking to me like I'm a caveman, but it's probably a good thing. This is what he looks like now, and this is what this is what he's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And I mean, the one in the movie, he looks furry. That's like the only thing I can tell is difference.
I know, they're trying to make it look, more realistic. But one thing people are like, oh, he has two little eyes, and his eyes it's supposed to be like one big eye that's kind of curved like an M. And
Okay.
It just some of the proportions are just off. Like his legs should be like a little longer and skinnier, and should have big shoes. But I mean, with anything, I mean, with a new creation, a new artist, you're going to have a different take on it.
Right.
And
Well, I think they're going to change it too, anyways, aren't they?
Yeah,
already talking about?
Have you seen that? Yeah.
yeah, I did see. So because of the internet outrage, we're like, oh no, we're going to go bring it back in the studio and redesign it, redo it. So we'll see where it ends up.
Okay. Now, Autumn, you have kids, as we talked about before. Do any of your kids play with this furry blue creature that's...
My kids don't, but I will say that when I was a kid, I loved Sonic to play it. My brother and I, my brother's 5 years younger than me, and we beat the game. Yeah.
Okay, wow.
That was kind of a big thing. That and Mario, you know, we'd go back and forth. But, you know, I like video games that don't involve killing. So even though Sonic, there's like some capturing and stuff and like, you know, puzzles to overcome and stuff, but there was no outright killing.
So what were the rings?
Eat a lot of coins or rings.
What were the rings? You would win.
Okay, because I thought they were Cheerios when I saw, like, why are they showing
Golden
Cheerios?
Cheerios.
I thought,
Get all the rings.
Like, those are
and it
honey.
made that fun little noise, which I noticed was in the trailer. Which I was like, oh, I like that noise.
I was on vacation in the Caribbean, and there was a kid at a bar that was playing a game, and it was going bling bling, and that I was like, he's playing Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just that very iconic bling bling.
Kind of like Mario Brothers or Pac-Man or some of those games, right?
You hear it, and you're like, I know what that is.
Yeah, so
I mean, there's a little nostalgia for me.
Okay.
With that movie, I don't.
Yeah, I still think it's great
stay
that they're doing it, and you know, it's well over. It should have happened, you know, earlier. But
well, it did apparently.
Yeah,
I guess it
apparently
did.
there was a movie called Sonic in 2019.
You know, I didn't even know.
2013, you said, right?
2013, yeah.
Oh, I did not know.
All right, well, let's run through what our basic thoughts of the movie are. Basic thought of the trailer that you saw. What do you think, Emily?
Yeah, I think it's a good go at it. I am curious. I probably wouldn't go to the movies to see it, but I like to see it. I think, like, you know, when it comes out.
Okay. Autumn?
I anticipate seeing this with my 11-year-old, and I'm going to try to stay awake.
Okay.
It's a big thing for me. Stay awake for a movie is a big thing.
Yes,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can take your little buddy, the Wookiee.
I know, I'm
with
going to
you.
bring the Wookiee.
Yeah. All right. Mitch?
At first I was like, oh, cool, Sonic the Hedgehog. I like him. He's fun because I like video games.
Right.
And then I started listening to the plot, and I'm like, this sounds kind of boring and overdone, and just it's the same old stuff all over again. And then I saw Jim Carrey was in it, and I'm like, oh, cool, Jim Carrey's in it. So I kind of went like this, and then I went like this, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So, and I just love Jim Carrey in general. So the fact they got him in this movie could bode well for the film. I won't see it in theaters, but I will see it. I will seek it out at home when it comes out. It'll be on my watch list for sure.
I agree about that Jim Carrey too. I think that was good.
So, okay, our Ryan is usually our, he came up, I think, with this trailer. Ryan's one of our social media guys. And he said, oh, we should watch this trailer. And it was just, he just went off and said a lot of things in our group chat that probably can't say on the air about his thoughts about this trailer. I thought, okay, I'm expecting to think this is just a lousy trailer. And I'm sitting there watching it and I'm laughing. And I'm like, should I be laughing at this? Is this supposed to be funny? But I think my tech guy, Dan, put it best. He says, this feels like a mid-2000s film. And I thought the trailer was charming. I was laughing. It looked funny. I like James Marsden. I like Jim Carrey. And this looks like actually a funny Jim Carrey again. I don't really know or care anything about the Sonic character. So yeah, no. But would I go see it in theaters? No. So yeah, no. So let's just hop into the rating. Do you know what to do for ratings? Thumbs up, thumbs down, or somewhere in between? If you think you really hit the trailer, 2 thumbs in the eye. You know, so we'll start with Mitch doing the Mitch doing the rating so we can get an idea.
I'd say I'm gonna go sideways with both of them.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's mine too.
All right.
Yeah, me too. Sideways.
Okay. I'm gonna do 1 thumb up because I laughed during the trailer, and and 1 thumb in the middle because I'm not gonna see it in theaters. So yeah, let's move on to another. So they had little rings in this, and let's move on to another film which is about one ring to rule them all. So let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Quick side note: I said me and Hannah had gone down to New York. We actually went to see the Tolkien exhibit and actually saw J.R.R. Tolkien's handwritten notes and stuff like that were in a library down there. And so we got to see some of his original notes and actually saw like some of his scribbling things of when he had written down one thing, scratched it out, and then wrote one ring to rule them all. It was actually, and I'm not a huge fan of Lord of the Rings Hannah is, and that was pretty cool to see. So this trailer is Tolkien. Mitch, you want to go ahead?
Absolutely. So Tolkien explores the formative years of orphaned author as he finds friendship, love, and artistic inspiration among a group of fellow outcasts at school. Takes him into the outbreak of World War I, which threatens to tear the fellowship apart of all these experiences, and would inspire Tolkien to write his famous Middle-earth novels, starring Nicholas Hoult as J.R.R. Tolkien and Lily Collins. And directed by was what I was looking for, but I don't see it immediately.
It wasn't directed by anybody.
It was directed by somebody. Yeah, so that's the gist of it.
So quick shout out to Renee Bergeron who said Tolkien.
Tolkien.
See, so apparently we are pronouncing it wrong. Now, I'm going to jump in and actually start talking about this trailer.
It was directed by Dome Karakowski.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was my thought exactly. I'm like, no.
I wasn't a huge fan, but I've recently gone back and rewatched the films, and they re-showed the extended versions in Newington. I went to see them, and I watched the intense behind the scenes for the films for Lord of the Rings, and I learned a lot about Tolkien. This film looks really interesting. The sad part is I don't think the family approved of the movie.
Well, they didn't approve it necessarily, which means they didn't get involved. They had been approached previously to approve other projects, but always declined to get involved.
Right, yeah.
So somebody just decided to do one and not ask them. So
that's kind of a jerkish thing to do.
No rules against it, apparently. So
I guess not. Now, the visuals in this trailer looks really good.
Amazing.
It does feel very heartfelt. And now that I know a little bit more about him, it looks good. I'm not going to lie. This does look like really good. We know Bobby Trickett because it's based on a real event. I'm going to give 2 thumbs up right off the bat. We're not getting into ratings, but Mitch, your thoughts?
So I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings. I love the whole series. I own the box set, and it's got all the behind-the-scenes stuff and extra footage and everything.
Yeah.
So
give up all your life and watch behind-the-scenes box set because it's like 3 hours for each film. I
didn't realize he was orphaned, but that's a kind of an interesting piece. It's a real-life story about a real-life person, so that it's got my attention immediately. It looks gorgeous. World War II aspect of it, kind of interesting, or one rather. It was kind of caught my attention as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Good. Well, I'm a huge fan of Tolkien as an author.
Fell asleep during the movies.
Don't throw me out the window, but I've never seen the movies.
Well, there is a separation between people who like the books.
I just haven't had that much time to devote to sitting and watching.
No, hang on a second. I'm going to hang on a second.
Oh.
All right. Let me get this right. Wait a second. Did you just say you're a fan of the books?
Yes.
But you haven't had enough time to watch the movies.
I love reading.
Yeah, I get
reading
that.
is my thing.
How many hours did it take to read the book? All right. Did you sing the songs that were in the book too?
I made up my own songs.
Yes.
Is that weird?
All right,
I do that.
But you didn't have time to watch a 2.5-hour movie.
They're long.
Well, the book, like I
know, but I
read
have
the
to
foreword of
I
the
can
book.
put the book down, go and make dinner, whatever.
There's a pause thing.
That's true.
Yeah, and then I can come back to my book. So I don't know. I'd rather read than
And you can read a book in the
watch
park.
movies. Yeah.
You can't watch a movie in the
I can
park.
bring, while I'm,
much.
waiting for kids to get out of lessons or things, I can read my book. So this movie, though, I'm pretty excited about because, again, it's about a real person. It's kind of a take on, I love period pieces. So World War I, I love that.
Yes.
It looks like the videography is really nice, very warm. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd pay to see it in the movie theater.
No, because you just read the book. And you have more
But
time
I
to
would read the book. If there was a biography, I'd read the biography.
All right, okay. Emily, thoughts on the trailer? I'm pushing us right past time because I had to make a dramatic entrance.
Well, I think definitely from like an artistic perspective, it looks like a very beautiful, well-made film, and would be intriguing to see about his life story. So definitely interesting, and would want to see. But it does seem very dark, and is kind of it'd be interesting to see how factual it is. Or I know I saw like a monster in there that kind of come up from the plane.
The explosion? Did you notice that too?
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
awesome.
had to be
So that
reshown
part's probably
That
not,
was
you know,
crazy, yeah.
his imagination. But yeah, I am also really excited about. I know they're supposed to be making a thing on Amazon, I think. Lord
Yeah,
of
no,
the
we're not
Rings.
talking about
But I
that
know
right
we're
now.
not
We're talking
talking
about
about
this
that,
stuff.
which is a completely other thing to talk about another
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this will be interesting to see. So
All right.
yeah, definitely.
Well, what's your rating? So we'll hop right into the rating because we're running out of time right now. What's your rating for this trailer?
I'd say one up and one kind of sideways because it just seems a little dark for me.
Okay.
You know, something I'd probably see after, not in the theater, but
Okay.
it still would.
All right.
Yeah.
Autumn?
I'm same.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I gotta do it. I'm saying
Are you guys
because I'm just
same?
not like.
Okay. Are you two just kissing up to the guest right now?
No, I really genuinely like her.
Oh.
I like you too. You guys are great.
And I wasn't paying attention. I just
Yeah.
I'm in the same rating.
I'm gonna give 2 thumbs up. The trailer emotionally hit me. I like his story. I've heard a lot more about his story, and now that I've actually seen his work firsthand, and you know, as a guy who has scribbled and done a lot of drawings of storylines that I've written myself, it's kind of interesting to see something that was just a piece of paper at one point to be displayed in a museum. Kind of inspiring in a way, but also just really interesting to know this was just some guy at one point in time. So, anyways, we have to start wrapping this up for our guest, and we'll be getting into the last quarter of the show. But Emily Druin, great having you on the show.
Yeah,
Did you have fun?
thank you so much. Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you again. Maybe in the future, come back.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Yes, she's leading in. She wants to come back to the
Yeah,
show.
let's
That's
have-
good. I like that. You know. Yeah, usually they're running for the door. But Emily Druin, great having you on the show. Check out Emily Druin's artwork and check out KidsCon and check out we'll be dropping all that stuff in. Great having her on the show. And when we come back, we'll be in our last section of the show, early late night live show on every Wednesday night from
See how
7 to
much
8.
wood.
We'll be right back.
Oh, perfect, thank you. No, I'm sorry, what I meant to ask is, can I exchange some money for your nickel?
Oh, yeah.
So, no, thank you. I'm sorry, I just don't want to go to the desk.
No. Let me see what I got here. Oh, you get 2 dimes for a nickel?
Yes, perfect, thank you. I'm sorry for the inconvenience.
Oh, no worries. Have a good one, man.
Like, wait a minute. 2 dimes for 1 nickel?
Yeah. It's like $1. It's 4 quarters and $1. It just sounds.
Right, but I think it's 2 nickels for 1 dime.
No. Let me show you what I mean. Give me 4 quarters.
4 quarters? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go.
Yeah, see, I mean, oh, you're right. I did.
Right, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I owe you a nickel.
Oh yeah, perfect. Then I'll give you your 2 pennies back.
Yes. Have a good one, sir.
No wait. I still only have 2 nickels. How did that work?
Because you gave me a Canadian dime.
A Canadian dime?
Yeah.
I don't think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Well, that's American.
No. See, the head's a little different on this? It's Canadian.
I guess he does have kind of a receding hairline.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just keep whatever we have.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So everything goes at Mitch, except for that one thing, so we're cutting to me. Because everything goes at Mitch. And that means we're going to start the camera on whoever we want at this point in time. So now everything goes at Mitch. So Mitch, what did you have planned for this segment?
Nothing.
There we go. All right.
Actually, I was gonna chuck some wood.
Yeah, how much? Yes.
Just to see how much I could do, and then maybe I could give the woodchuck some pointers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or maybe you can learn something from the woodchuck. You never know.
Well, I'm gonna teach the woodchuck something.
Oh,
Hopefully.
whoa. That's some pride right there.
That's the
yeah.
intention, anyway.
Yeah, he knows. You think you can.
Here's what I learned. What'd you learn? We'll share notes.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can chuck more wood.
So, okay. So, last quarter of the show, and we have. I was talking about this beforehand. We have obviously the whole show is always filled with artists, except for photographers, because, anyways. So we have 3 different types of actors on this last quarter of the show. And this wasn't really what I was thinking. I was like, oh, great to have Autumn on the show, but it's interesting now because I was thinking about it. Almost strictly theater, and now really split. You've done commercials, professional commercials. You've done films, and you've done theater, and you've done a healthy amount of pretty much all of them. You covered most of the bases.
Commercial, so commercial work, industrial work, film, both independent and professional, television, as well as theater.
Television? What were you?
I was on the History Channel for Mysteries at the Museum.
Right.
And I also did a piece for, what was it? I did another piece for...
Pretty significant in your career, apparently.
It was Investigation Discovery. I did a commercial for them, but there was another television piece.
Wow.
I'll think of it. It'll come to me.
And me, the guy who
Brain fog
hosts
at the moment.
like a TV show, like my goal with filmmaking and stuff like that was I want to do this and I want to play this part, so no one's going to hire me, so I'll just make the movie myself. And so, but each one of us have had a very different path in how we got there. Me and you are actually probably the most similar though, because you have produced a lot of plays at this point in time, right?
Yes.
You know, and you've acted in some of the films in the plays that you've produced, correct, right?
Typically, I don't do both.
Typically, you don't.
Typically, I do not.
All right, so you're not that as arrogant as me.
No.
Right. Okay.
Let me just be very clear about that. No.
So that's good. That's good. But so we've stayed more on the producing. So we've kind of from stem to stern, we've kind of seen it go from all ends on theater, and in my case on film. And I haven't spent a ton of time on professional sets. So I've worked on professional films and television and a couple commercials and stuff like that. But I've never done theater at all before. The most inspiring thing about our guest was that she's a professional artist. This is what she does, which is really cool. And we got to have her back on because there's a million questions we could, we could have asked. Would love to pick her brains some more. What would you say, Mitch, as is the key to being in this industry or to be chasing your dream? But we have to live and we have to eat and everything like that. What would you say is the one thing, because you've been doing this for a while now?
Yeah, since '96.
That's 96, right.
Essentially, I've done 40 theater productions since '96, and another dozen behind the stage, either as a set builder or a stage manager or something along those lines. But so back then, I had a full-time job, community theater, which is where I got involved in modeling and was something that I could do at night. Because that's when we rehearse and perform on the weekends, so it was very accessible, and there was a lot of it going on, so it was easy to hold a full-time job and learn how to act and get on stage and do things like that. As my career changed very dramatically in 2014, it became a whole different ball of wax. I'd started an IT business, so I had IT clients and a lot of opportunities on that side of things. I had some money set aside, and then film became an opportunity for me that I was just checking into. So I'm like, well, what do I do if I want to be an actor in film and television in New England? Well,
he's genuinely an IT guy, because just so you know, genuinely an IT guy, because something was going wrong with the monitor, and I was just about to start yelling at Dan, and Mitch is walking by and goes, oh, you got to do this, click, 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 and then walks on and fix the monitor.
I saved you, Dan.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I broke it, to be honest. So the life, as I knew it, changed completely. Now it was about, well, making sure I keep money coming into the coffers and doing whatever I can to do that. And for me, it was some clients that I had, IT clients, that would call me, and I'd make a very modest and barely making it living doing that. And then every once in a while, I get a commercial and make a bunch of money and for that. And then after that, it became, well, IT clients started to kind of go away because I really didn't want to do it anymore. So I started letting them go and saying, find a new guy. So I had to find other ways to make money. So I started looking into things like, well, ride shares like Uber and Lyft, and started doing work with them. And then that really wasn't something that I wanted to do all the time, but commercials weren't paying enough, so I started working behind the camera. So now I do I do grip work and gaff work and production coordinator work and producer work.
We did the sound work for...
And I do sound work.
Yeah,
it's very modest, just holding a boom kind of a thing and stuff like that. But very entry-level stuff, but enough of that is around. And you make if you get a $300 or $400 day for 10 hours, your full day, you make that amount of money. You can do that 4 or 5 times a month. And, and you can keep a roof over your head and some food on the table. And then if you make commercials and you get some of the better paying jobs, stuff, that's gravy. Hopefully. I don't have a lot of gravy in my life at the moment. Although season's picking up. I just booked another commercial for next week. I shot one recently this past weekend. So I'm on hold for another one. So
the industry is like this. You got to really be kind of on it all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? You now become a business owner. You are now an individual who is responsible for paving their own road, making their own way in terms of film and television is concerned. You have to be out there. You have to have an agent. You're going to keep your headshots up to date.
And you better answer the phone when they call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I get it. Unfortunately, my agent will call me. If they haven't heard from me in 6 or 7 hours after they sent me an email, they'll call me.
Right.
Mitch, did you see this kind of thing? And it's just for an audition.
Right.
So they're pretty on top of things.
Now, so Autumn, as a producer and as an actor in the theater realm, as a mom and as a worker, so I mean, but you're a full-time artist and a full-time worker and a full-time mom. Somewhere you sleep.
Somewhere in there, yes. At least I'm not in school anymore, so the full-time student.
That's true. Yes.
I've done that and got my master's.
You sleep during movies.
So
that's where it is.
I
right?
do. That's why I can't watch a movie. It really has to be good to hold my attention.
Yeah.
But for me, it was there's a balance there between feeding my passion and, like Mitch said, putting food on the table. In a different life, maybe I could have pursued it more. But the way that things are, and I'm very happy with the balance that I've struck. But that's really why I stick to community theater, because the community theater realm really offers the scheduling that fits with people that work full time.
And your kids are part of the plays too, right?
I was just going to say that. Yeah, one of the greatest joys that I have now is watching my kids learn their craft and become artists themselves.
That's cool.
Yeah, Aiden currently is in a production of Footloose with the Rochester Opera House, and he's getting paid.
That's awesome. Which is rare. That's rare in theater.
Absolutely rare.
Enjoy it while it lasts, kid.
But it's opening up all of these opportunities for him. And for Aiden, as a 17-year-old, his biggest passion is film. So watching him explore different artistic venues and really open himself up to, especially a musical, has just been, as a mom, it's just, my heart is just growing 3 times that day, It's pretty awesome. And then Genevieve, my 15-year-old, just anything she can do to be on the stage is what she's doing.
Right.
So now my journey right now as mom is allowing them the opportunity to explore and figure out their path. Who knows, is Aiden going to go to film school? Is he going to go off to LA and explore opportunities? So I feel like my job at this point as an artist is to help them blossom and grow.
Yeah.
I know that there's value in that, but I still find, those times for myself to be on stage because as an artist, I need that. It literally feeds my fire for life.
Well, we finally got to act together, and I'm going to shamelessly plug the dinner party, which is Arnie's film. She submitted a whole bunch of film festivals, and that was so much fun working with you. We talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it last time you were on the show, but you talked about being a theater actor. You're just always on, And you said when you were on the film set, it was kind of weird because you said that, what did you say? People just shut off as soon as the camera cuts.
Their character disappeared and they were just themselves again. And I was looking around going, wait a second, but I'm still my character.
Right. And I thought you were mad at me.
Yeah.
Like I'm on set going, oh man, she's not enjoying this right now.
And that was the farthest from the truth. Like I had such a fun time being on the set, but it was so different. And I'm not really knowing what the expectations were of me as an actor on set. I was kind of finding my way.
Every actor feels like that too.
Yeah.
How many lines did you have?
I had quite a few lines.
And did
the second biggest role in the film, at least. Yeah.
How diligent were you about learning your lines and showing up off book for the first time ever doing it with anybody? How'd that feel and go for you in terms of?
Yeah, I thought I had done a really poor job until I realized that nobody else had learned any of their lines. And then I was like, oh, this is so weird.
She was working with me.
Yeah.
That's sometimes how it goes. So that's what I was kind of curious.
It was so interesting too. And Terry would be like, okay, cut. Or Arnie would say, cut, and let's redo that again. And I'm like, oh, I get a redo. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
so by the second
you
weekend.
Just dropped your kids, the first shoot, you had to drop your kids off at the airport and you hadn't had I was like, okay, we'll work through, and 75% of the crew were off book, so that was fine. It wasn't a big deal to have, as long as the bulk of your crew was on it, you're okay.
Yeah.
And so we were able to kind of work it through. And I figured, okay, well she's a pro, she can kind of pick up the rhythm of what's going on. And I knew I didn't have to tell you how to act too, which is you didn't have to practice lines and tell you how to act. All right. Anyways, I'm getting we got to wrap this up thing. All right. This went by really quick. All right. So my last bit of word of advice for my living life
which
as
we forgot to ask
as
our
an artist.
guest.
Yes, it's okay. I can ask myself because I'm a ham, is this: you have to decide or figure out what it is you want to do, and that takes time. But then figure it out. If you want to be an artist, an individual artist, if you want to produce, if you want to, so knowing what your plan is, knowing what your goal is going to change all the roads that you think you need to go on. That's the most important thing. Know where the goal is, then figure out how to get there. That'd be my bit. All right, anyways, we got to wrap up the show. Autumn Allen, great having you on the show. Hope you had fun.
Thanks for having me.
Mitch Fortier just kicked the table.
I
Because
did.
anything goes to Mitch.
do you know who our guest is for next week offhand?
I do not.
I can tell you real quick, hopefully, if I get it up.
All right.
That's Stephen Lomer.
Stephen Lomer is back in the house next week. It's going to be
Good
great.
time.
Arnie should be back too, otherwise we'll fire her. All right, it's the early late night live show on every Wednesday night from 7 to 8. Check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. And in 2 weeks, we are going to be going completely off Facebook, and except for updates and stuff like that. And we're going to be going live only on YouTube. So check it out, and we will be back next week at 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.